Oh, goodness gracious me. Hello, everyone. I am Sunny Fridge. Welcome to Competitive Communicators, where you only compete against yourself. Let's go over a few tips to have a great meeting using our Zoom controls. The controls are located on the bottom left of your screen, and on the far left is the microphone icon that controls your audio. For those of you who are new, you can mute and unmute your microphone. And basically, if you're not speaking, you can leave your microphone on mute. And to make a quick comment, here's something new. Hold the space bar down while you're talking, and you will be heard. When you finish speaking, release the space bar, and you will still be on mute. Hey, Cheryl, check that out for me. Cheryl, would you say hello to me by pressing the space bar and holding it? Say hello. Well, Cheryl must have left the building. However, I can promise you it does work. Next is the video button. You can turn your camera on and off with the stop and start video button. Please click the stop video when you need to step away from the meeting, when you have to take a bathroom break, or if you're eating snacks, or you have to answer your phone. You may chat with individual members, and please mute your phones now, please. You may chat with individual members or everyone in the meeting. Click the chat icon to open up the chat window, and you can chat with other members and participants, or you can view the chat messages. You can select the drop-down arrow next to the word everyone, and you can speak to one person directly. That changes who you're chatting with. It's preferred, however, that you not chat while there's a prepared speaker who is talking. Feel free, however, to share your support by sending a quick message after he or she speaks. Positive feedback is most welcome. Our policy: by participating in our meeting, you agree that a recording will be available publicly on our YouTube channel, our website, Facebook, and other public media. Again, welcome to Competitive Communicators, where you only compete against yourself. I now return control to our club president. Let's welcome Tricia Grow. Woohoo! And it would be nice if I stopped sharing.
Thank you so much, Sunny. I very much appreciate that. At this time of our meeting, we go around and take a short moment or two to introduce ourselves. We'll first introduce the club members and then give our guests a moment to introduce themselves. I would first like to begin with our club mentor, Cheryl Pointier, who was just traveling the world, and she's back.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Yes, I am Cheryl Poirier. Today I am the body language monitor. If you can see my screen in the background, that's a picture I took on my holidays. I don't know if you call traveling the Canadian Maritimes traveling the world, but it certainly was an eye-opening and enjoyable experience for me. It was a great way to start off my summer. In fact, we left the first day of summer and arrived to weather that didn't look very good, but it did get wonderful for most of our trip. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. We're glad that you're back, and hopefully it was a very restful and peaceful trip. Next, my neighbor to the east, from Maryland. Well, I have several of you are my neighbors from the east in Maryland, but this particular one is Kannan. Kannan, would you please introduce yourself?
Definitely. I am Kannan Shankara. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, very close to the nation's capital. I'm still planning to travel sometime this year. Maybe I will try some European countries during Thanksgiving. Still in the planning stage. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Another friend from Maryland is our inspiration and timer today, Mei Hen. Oh, you're muted, Hen.
Hi everyone, I'm Mei Han from Clarksville, Maryland. For the summertime, of course, it has started for 3 weeks. We don't have a lot of plan, but we can try to take every possible weekend to do something different from other seasons. So last Friday, we went to a nearby state park. It's called Deep Creek State Park, and there are a big lake, and we tried boating over there. It was very fun. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. And Isabel.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm Isabel from Ellicott City, Maryland. This summer is so special. We're expecting a puppy, and I would like to show you. That's my biggest achievement last week was finding the breeder. Oh, what happened to my? Just a second, I will show you this is we found this, the breeder's name is Debbie K. She is a famous service dog trainer. And this is my daughter. She's holding a 3-week-old Labrador puppy. And on the other side is the dam of this puppy. And then you see how excited my daughter is, right? This is we are getting ready. The puppy we can bring the puppy home in the beginning of August. So we're getting ready for the new puppy. It's exciting. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Isabel. It's an adorable dog there. Next, I would like to call on Sunny Fridge. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I am Sunny Fridge. I love to say I am a New York girl living in a Mississippi world, and it's summertime and the living is easy. One of my things that I'm looking forward to is the Toastmasters convention in Denver, Colorado, where I will get a chance to see our president face to face off screen. So I'll be looking forward to that. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. And one of our traveling Toastmasters, Gerard, would you please introduce yourself and tell us where you are today?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'm still in Tennessee, so like and probably this weekend coming up, I'll be headed a little bit higher altitude, see if I can't get a little bit cooler temperature. Okay, thank you, guys. Madam President, back to you.
Thank you very much. Hariom, would you please take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us any summer plans you have?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This is Hariom from Jersey City in New Jersey. So summertime is kind of time to cherish here because we get it like for 2-3 months. So I'm from India. I'm used to long summertime. Here we get for like only 2-3 months. And living closer to New York, what I generally do is I just go and hang out, chill out in the Central Park. And that is my summertime thing for most of the summer since last 2-3 years. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. And our immediate past president, Aaron Leung.
Thanks for the music welcoming. So, yeah, what was the question again? I'm still in days, waking up.
You're introducing yourself and telling us of any summer plans that you have.
Okay. So my name is Aaron. I'm from Hong Kong. Summer plans for Hong Kong is not really too much other than going to Ocean Park and getting myself wet, or going to Disneyland to wish for a fairy tale to come true. So usually that's what we do for summer events. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And I see Harry. Harry, are you able to introduce yourself? Are you there, Harry? Oh, we'll try later. And Dora Lee, would you like to introduce yourself? No? Okay. Well, we'll try again at the end of the meeting. For myself, my name is Trish. I am the current president of Competitive Communicators. I live in York Springs, which is closest to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is a very historical town. And my neighbors are setting off fireworks. So if you're hearing loud noises in the background, that's what's going on. But it's my pleasure at this time to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster of the day. This young lady, I've gotten to know much better over this course of this last year. I just got to meet her in person recently and had a wonderful time having dinner with her and another Toastmaster. So please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Isabel Kadoorie.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, welcome to this meeting, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. Our meeting has the 3 parts. For the first part, we will have prepared speech. Today we have 2 speakers. Then we will go on to the second part is the table topics. It's the time to practice impromptu speaking. For that session, we will have a table topic master conduct that section. The last section of the meeting is evaluation, which members practice the skills of providing constructive feedback. I have a team of members to facilitate this meeting. First, I would like to call our inspiration speaker. Our inspiration speaker is May. Please help me welcome May.
Hi, everyone. I have a lot of contact with school-age children and their parents. A lot of them are concerned about raise their kids or become too nerdy. So today I found an inspirational quote by a young American author. His name is John Green, and this quote is for nerd fighters. So it is, when people talk about nerdiness, what they are really talking about is some smart people who are trying to think hard about the world. Therefore, I don't think it is an insult. I think it's a great thing. Okay, thank you. Back to Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, May. That's a nice inspiration. Next, I would like to call our accountant, Gerard. Gerard, would you please explain your role?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen to words and count them, and count any inappropriate expressions such as well, so, you, and no. Sounds may be and We'll also note speaker repeats a word or a phrase such as I, or this means, this known as a double clutch. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Gerard. Next, I will call our grammarian. I don't have the name of grammarian. Who is taking the grammarian role? Hi, Sunny.
Hello. Hello. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. As grammarian, I'm going to make note of any incorrect grammar as well as unique use of grammar. And at the end of the meeting, I will bring a report. I also realize I will come up with a word of the day in just a moment, and I will place it in the chat. So just give me a couple of minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Sunny. Oh, Sunny, your volume is really low, so you may want to adjust your microphone. Next, I would like to call our body language monitor. Our body language monitor today is Cheryl Poirier. Please help me welcome Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I think this is the first time I've been the body language monitor, so I hope I do an excellent job. The job of the body language monitor is to watch what all of us look like on the screen through all parts of the meeting, to look at the lighting, the backgrounds, and any backdrops that are visible on the screen, and of course to comment upon these items at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Cheryl. Next, I would like to call our chat monitor, Aaron. Aaron, please explain your role.
Okay, so my role as a chat monitor will be focusing on looking at the chat box and making sure that any good phrases or maybe even nice conversations I'll highlight at the report at the end of the meeting. Back to you.
Thank you, Aaron. Next, I will call our timer. Our timer is doing double duty today. Please help me welcome May.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As a timer, I will time each speaker's speech. For the prepared speech, you'll have 5 to 7 minutes. For the table topics, you have 1 to 2 minutes. For the evaluation, you have 2 to 3 minutes. So when you meet the minimum requirement, you'll see the green card. And then you will see yellow card. If you exceed the maximum time, you will see the red card. When you see the red card, you have 30 seconds to wrap up your speech. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, May. Now we will start the prepared speech section. Our first speaker is Kannan Sankara. Kannan is working on Innovative Planning Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals, Evaluation and Feedback. This is his second speech for this project. The speech title is Indian Movies. Please help me welcome Kannan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. It is summertime, and in India, many students would have vacation time. Some new movies would be released generally during this time. I spoke about Indian movies last week. Just to recap, India is way ahead of Hollywood in terms of number of films produced. In 2018 alone, India produced around 1,600 films, and my state led the race with 180 films. In terms of revenue, India reached more than $3 billion in 2018. Indian movies have stories that blend with Indian culture. Every film will have similar themes but different stories. Indian films also will have many genres like music, dance, social, comedy, politics, and masala, etc. Music in Indian cinema is a substantial revenue generator, with the music rights alone accounting to 5% of the net revenue generated by a film in India. Commercially, film music accounts for 48% of the India's net music scale. In Indian cinema, the film songs will always have dance. If it is a sorrow song and dance. If it is a happy song, happy dance. Maybe a group dance. If it is a kids movie, dance with the animals. If it is a prayer, music and dance. Dance and music is an integral part of Indian movies. The advantages of movies include that the poor people can see the foreign location in the movies. Most of the people cannot afford to go even to the nearby cities, but can see the foreign location. The tax on movie revenue is one of the important source of income for the federal and state governments. They can utilize for running the state effectively. Last week, my evaluator and today's Toastmaster of the day asked me to elaborate the challenges or issues that are coming because of Indian movies. I am going to address that this week. In India, we had a censor team that consists of members from the public to make sure that the movies do not show anything against the Indian culture. The censor generally did not allow, I'm talking about 20 years ago, did not allow women wearing very glamorous, revealing dresses, or did not allow any violent scenes. If the story demanded a violent scenes, then the movie would be certified as adult-only movies. I would give an example. If you remember the movie Exorcist some 25 years ago, that would have been rated as strictly adults only. However, after the boom in Indian economy, people started watching all the international movies. Hence, there is a compromise on the dresses of the actresses wear in Indian movies. All the Indian actresses who were waiting for the opportunity started wearing dresses that reveal their assets. After seeing the movies, most of the Indian women started wearing very glamorous outfits. This resulted in the increase in the crime rate against women in cities. The crime rate against women has increased up to 7%. I want to show two clips, 30 seconds at the end of my speech, one 20 years old and one from the current film, if my technology cooperates. Another issue that we face in Indian movies is that the heroes in the movies are depicted as good person. They always fight with the bad guys and win over the evil. After the end of their career, the actors are turning into politics and started winning elections, as people in villages believe that they are good people. Once they win the elections, the people found that the actors are really stupid and very poor administrators. There are many film personalities who have turned into politics without knowing anything about administration. God save India. In summary, Indian movies are great entertainment for the movie watchers. The music, dance, and technologies are improving day by day. When you have some time, when you have some time, if you want to see some Indian movies, let me know. I will share some link. I'm going to share my screen just to share two 30 seconds clip, okay? 1 minute. I'm going to show, this is 20 years ago, 15 seconds, okay, if you can hear that. Now I'm going to show the current film. Why I'm showing this that Indian movies are blended with music and dance. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kannan. I'm so absorbed in your speech, and I was trying to write down what's good about your speech and forgot my duty. Well, fellow Toastmasters, please spend 1 minute to send your comments on the chat to Kannan, either publicly or privately. Please provide your feedback and share your thoughts. What's good about Kannan's speech and what things he may try and make his speech even better. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute is over.
Okay. One minute up.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Now we're going to call the second speaker. Our second speaker is Erin Leung. Erin is working on strategic relationship level 1, mastering fundamentals. It's also about evaluation and feedback. His speech is the first speech of the project. The title is The Balance of Walls. Please help me welcome Erin.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, every one of us do have something in mind. Our thoughts, our worries are all kept in our mind, thinking about when is the next time that I'm going to face it. How many of you actually is having a problem right now in your mind, thinking that how to solve it? Please raise up your hand. No one has any problem. Oh, okay, we see a couple of people having problems. I do have problems. I thought it's mental problem, but it turns out not. The problems that have been occurring with us day by day, the methods that we walked out, the way we approach people, the way we talk with boss. Imagine a scenario where we walk to the workplace, and then your boss tell you, Aaron, please come into the workplace. Please come into my office. Slowly, I take a step and two, and wondering what have I done wrongly today. Or maybe yesterday, or maybe the day before. But slowly and steadily, I realized it happened 2 months ago, whereby I make a tiny mistake, and it was in my appraisal. I was shocked. I thought that nothing is going to be happening related to something that's within a few months. That makes me feeling a bit woeful. But then, let me ask you a question. What is the point of worrying too much when you can be happy facing it? Take for example, if you have taken your examinations, you know that you failed your exams. You're still worried that whether you can go to universities, good prestigious universities. But there's no point of worrying because it already happened. We only can think about what is the next step that we can do. We cannot just focus on what's in the past to affect or determine or affect what is going to happen in the future. Then I was thinking about what's happening related to my life. Is there any woeful situations that I'm worried for the next moment? Yes, there actually is. I divided WOE into 3 different adjectives. 1, being woeful is wasting your time. W. Because we spend our time in negative mode, we affect every single relationship within us, such as with families, friends. Imagine the time whereby, for me, I will go to a pub and I will just complain to my friend or bartender saying that, look, I am feeling very unhappy today. The chain response is, they are going to spread with your negativity. For the bartender, they will be very happy because they will get more commission, more money by selling you drinks. It makes them happy somehow. But think about the people around you that actually care. Oh, buddy, you'll be fine. You know those words don't work. Literally doesn't work. But slowly you realize that it's only you yourself that overcome those woes. Nothing else. Then the second word, W-O, sauce, is about the originality of the sauce. You need to identify who is making you unhappy. Is it the issue or is it yourself? Sometimes it's about our perception, whereby it determines our emotions. It's because we feel that this may be a very negative thing. But what about you change the whole perception? Let's say, for example, I was riding a bike and I fell. Oh, I'm feeling very unhappy because of my lack of skills. I'm starting to get worried about my future of riding a bike, riding a horse, or maybe driving a car. But what about you change the mentality a little bit? Oh, this is the first time on your way to success. You change your mentality a whole lot better if you are able to positively facing it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a loop of reflections. Just like what I've been doing for the past 3 years, reflecting over a person that I lost. Usually girl problems. I can see a couple of chuckles, but you can unmute yourself to let us hear the laughter. Okay, the last one, E. What should I do with the E, the woes? It's about excluding those woes from your life. We have been putting this so much values on woes that are already happening. We have not excluded them too much. I haven't, but I'm trying to. But excluding those woes makes you feel better, makes you able to focus and prioritize on the things that you should care about, such as your family bills, your kids going to school. Oh, a new house to buy. Those are things that you can focus on, the priorities. You can adjust your priorities. We let our woes disrupt our lives too much, and there's a time to change. Time to make better plannings instead of wasting your time on damaging yourself because you are the only original source. And you can eliminate all this unnecessary times by your own choices. Just like right now, I'm still under the flu or being ill or waking up in the morning. This is woeful. I'm thinking about what happens if I go for comparative communicators future meetings. Although I have adjusted for 1 whole year or 2, then I have to think about my perception of it. I'm going to meet Cheryl Poirier, the past district director. Oh, I'm going to meet the president of my lovely club, Tricia girl, the smiles from her. I'm going to see Isabel, who is going to be the Toastmaster today. I'm going to see lovely faces and guests from like Sandra or May or Gerard, like they're traveling. It makes me feel that I will need to run and travel to any parts of the world. Turn woes into happiness. Turn woes into things that you can control. Do not let woes control you, but you can balance it out. So remember the 3 little words, W-O-E. Think about what we can do better, slowly, steadily. Put those woes aside, adjust a bit, put it back in your life, and move on. That's the end of my presentation. Back to you.
Thank you, Aaron, for your speech. Members, please write your feedback on the chat and give your encouragement. And if you have any idea for enhance Aaron's speech, please also send it to Aaron by chat. A timer, please let me know when the 1 minute is up.
Time is up.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Well, now this concludes the prepared speech section. We will start the second part of our meeting. It's about table topics. To conduct this section, we will have tabletop master, Tricia Grow. Please help me welcome Tricia.
Hello. I'm so happy to be implementing our table topic session, and just a quick public service message. Our word of the day has been put in the chat box. It is flare. So in addition to your table topics, I will up one and ask you to present your answer with some flair, or at least include the word flare in your answer. So that's your additional challenge tonight as I call on you to answer my table topic questions. And they're all about summertime, so they're not going to be very difficult questions. I think you can handle adding a little flair. So my first question for you, lovely Toastmasters and guests, is, do you find that summertime is more romantic, or do you prefer another season? I will ask Cheryl this question.
Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master. I haven't really thought about romance per se for a number of years because I get to experience it every day thanks to an incredibly romantic husband. He's French. What can I say? But to go to your question about which season is perhaps the most romantic, living in Canada, northern part of the world, I have to say that I find winter to be far more romantic than summer. In winter, you have to cuddle up together to keep warm, unless you turn the air conditioning on too cold in summer, but let's not go there. In winter, it's a time when people put up a fire in their fireplace, and you can dance close together all by yourself in your own house without having to worry about getting all hot and sweaty. Winter, for its cooler temperatures, at least where I live, is a much better time of year to get physically close together, simply because, well, it helps us to get warm. In conclusion, then, I'm going to tell you that if you're in Canada or any other northern part of the world, I suspect, winter is going to be the most romantic season of all. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. I appreciate your opinion. Next question is, what is your favorite destination to travel to in the summertime? I would like to ask our guest, Sandra, would you like to take this challenge?
Sure. Oh boy. My favorite destination in the summertime. My favorite destination in the summertime is the movie theater. I think that goes back to childhood when you'd spend the whole day outside getting really hot, and then you go into this nice, cool movie theater and you get the escapism on the screen and you get some popcorn, and it's just like stepping into another world for a couple of hours, and then you come back out into the heat and it's blazing sun again, and it's just like you're back to reality. And that sticks with me to this day. I love to be outside and be hot, and even watching movies at home, because I'll come home to my cool home and get to enjoy movies, and just it's very refreshing after a hot day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next question. We are an international Club. We have people here tonight with us from all around the world. And it's always winter somewhere. If you could travel anywhere in the world to be in winter right now, where would you travel to? Hariom, would you like this question?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. So I've spent my life in different places, in India, in hot and humid weather, in Dubai, in extremely hot and humid weather, and then in New York and California, in kind of cold weather. Sort of all these places, I would like to be in New York during the winter time. I love it during the winter time. The snow and the Christmas tree, especially, I mean, it gets really amazing after October. The winter starts slowly and you start having that feeling, good feeling when the weather is not very cold. And then it goes to November and December. And December, I like it a lot because, as I was saying before, it's the Christmas time. And this entire period of December to January, especially in New York, you can go to different places. You don't have to stay at home like all other places. You can go to Central Park, have fun. You can go to Grand Central. There are some places where people are skating, and there is so much of light, beautiful trees everywhere. So I would say that in case I have to spend winter at any location, it would be New York. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster, Madam Table Topic.
Thank you so much, Hariom. All right. Well, summertime is notorious for traveling. We just had Cheryl traveling, and Sunny and I plan to be traveling next month. So my question is, where will you be traveling this summer, if at all? Rainey, would you like this question? Are you with us, Rainey? No? Okay. How about Gerard? Would you like to handle that question? Oh, you're muted.
Trying to think how I'm going to count my R's and ums while I'm doing this. It'll make me definitely more aware. Again, I mentioned in it before that even though when I started out about a year and a half ago traveling, I wanted to stay between 75 and 80 degrees. I found myself in a location that's supposed to be there, but it's not. It's been really hot here in Tennessee and more humid than it's supposed to be. So that's what I was saying, that I'm going to head a little bit higher up in altitude. And I think I might end up doing what I did last year. I wish I had known where the convention was this year in Colorado, because that's where I spent last summer. Even though I love summer, it's my favorite season, like everything, you know, moderation. Colorado was beautiful to spend summertime there. It was a perfect climate. So if here, going up another 3,000 feet doesn't chill me out enough, I'll be seeing you in Colorado. Thank you, table topic. Madam.
Thank you so much. It would be wonderful. We could have a mini competitive communicators get together like we did in Maryland just recently ago. All right, I think I have time for at least one more question. So as we're talking about traveling, you know, I don't know about you, but my husband and I always leave something behind. Cameras, a pillowcase, it's always something. So what is your tip when you're traveling not to leave anything behind? Sunny.
What is my tip? I hope you can hear me. What is my tip to not leave something at home? Make a checklist. Whenever I go on a cruise or an extended vacation, I make a checklist. what I'm taking. I look on the internet and I look at YouTube channels and I look at what the best do. When I went on a cruise recently in January, I made sure, what did I need to know about going to the Bahamas in February? What did I need to take and what was going to make my stay even better? One of the things I would have forgotten is sunscreen, because typically I may not think about wearing sunscreen in the winter, but we did need it because we went on the beach, and it was a good thing that I brought it. Another thing that you can do is just always make sure that you have a charger for your phone. Make sure that you ask your partner, if you're going with someone, to make a checklist as well, so they can be a backup for you. And then this will leave you to enjoy your stay wherever you're going. Always remember that you may bring cash, but you may have to also bring some other type of currency. So just a few tips to enjoy your summer vacation, your winter vacation, or your staycation. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for participating with our Toastmasters today. And I'll turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, Isabel.
Thank you, Tricia. It's a very exciting table topic session. I enjoyed it. Now we would like to start the third portion of our meeting. It's about evaluation. Our general evaluator is Aaron. Aaron, please help us welcome Aaron for conducting the evaluation section of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Steph. So my general evaluation will be focusing on a couple of things. Before that even start, I have to introduce my facilitators and evaluators to be evaluating different speeches. The first one, just to reconfirm, is Isabel evaluating Tricia, right? If I
Kannan.
Isabel evaluating Kannan. So let's welcome Isabel to evaluate Kannan's speech.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. It's been a challenging meeting for me because I have never done double duty before. Well, I really understand how challenging that Tricia has been doing. Tricia always do double and triple duty. Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Kannan, I enjoyed your speech. You had a great use of body language. You used the hand gesture and the facial expression around your speech. When you talked about the music and dancing elements in Indian movies, you applied dance movement. I really like that. You made your speech more vivid and interesting by applying all these techniques in body language. This is your second speech for the evaluation and feedback project. In my previous speech evaluation, I made some suggestions about the speech content. I noticed that you have enhanced your speech organization. Through your second speech, we understand better how Indian movies has evolved in the last several decades, and how the movie have been putting great influence on the general public. Some were good, some were bad. And as the Indian movie industry has evolved and the government policies changed, the influence of the movie also changed. Kannan, you also added more content into your speech, your second speech. I loved your video presentations. The movie clips you showed that told us how extensive music and dance in Indian movies were. And it gives us a strong comparison how Indian movies have changed over the time. In the old days, the music and dance showed how a woman had to please a powerful man. And in the more modern movies, the music dance showed a happier and more equal society for both young women and young men. Kannan, you may want to work on your eye contact more. Your glasses has a very strong glare, so I didn't see where your eyes for most of the time. But when I did see your eyes, it seems that you were looking a bit lower than the camera Perhaps you were reading a note just below the camera. In summary, your speech was very interesting and very entertaining. At the same time, you told us many things about the Indian culture. It was very memorable. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. So, give a round of applause. I love how Isabel is giving a very concise, detailed speech. Always very humble at the start, and after which you can see her skills and talent dedicated to evaluate Kannan. So, once again, applause for Isabel. All right, next, I would like to welcome Hariom to evaluate myself on my speech, balancing your votes. Let's welcome Hariom.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'm going to evaluate the speech of Mr. General Evaluator. So, first of all, I would like to mention the Kannan speech. That was really good. I could totally relate to it, Indian movies. Moving on to Aaron's speech. I am totally jealous of the flair you have for the public speaking. I mean, it's amazing. Talking about your speech, the first thing, the content. The content was really good. It was well designed. It was broken into 3 parts. The first part was the introduction. Then you mentioned about the full forms of WOE, went into so much of detail in each and every aspect and summarized quite well. So when you started, I felt that I'm listening to some therapist, and it was so good. You started with the point that you don't have to look into the past or future. You have to focus on the next step. That is a really great point. Everybody should try to follow that. And then you mentioned about each and every word. So W, you mentioned that you are wasting your time by worrying. That was insightful. And that is what a lot of people do. They don't understand that they're worrying so much, or they're wasting their time by worrying so much. It can be used in something else. Then you mentioned about the originality of the source, that how can we go to the originality of the source and figure out that this is the reason I'm worrying and change that source. Again, very insightful and very meaningful. Then you mentioned about excluding the source of error, and that is where most of the people kind of fail, that they can not prioritize this worrying and all these negative thoughts, but they can focus on the other priorities of the life. That was amazing. I mean, all these 3 things, really good. Then you followed each and every word with an example. And I could totally relate to all the examples that you gave. The ending, you repeated the meaning of the word, or the meaning of the full form of WONE. That was again amazing. The overall hand gestures and eye contact, nobody can beat you, I feel. I mean, as I said, I'm jealous of you and I want to be like you. In terms of the body language, your hand gestures were good. Your vocal variety was amazing. And you said a couple of things in which your vocal variety was going up and down. And you also asked a lot of questions, which is something I would like to incorporate in my speech. There's just one thing, the light was kind of dim, and that made your video kind of blurry. That's the only point that I had. Otherwise, everything was amazing, and it was an inspiring speech. Back to you, Aaron, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, though. Because I'm actually saving on electrical bills, maybe that's the case. But thank you very much for Harry. I love the insightful part whereby you break it down into different chunks and spread out the evaluation factors, what is expected of a speaker. The challenge for Hariom is that really give us more critical evaluation. Sometimes in Toastmasters, we're being very nice for level 1s, but you know I've finished quite a lot of tasks, so you can be as critical as possible, because that will really help us to learn and grow. It's just adjusting to the needs of the speaker as well. So you know that, like me and Kannan, we can handle criticisms. Like you see, Kannan is laughing early, so basically, yeah, he's definitely able to handle it. So next time adjust it, that will be your own challenge. Now pass on the roles to the each of the facilitators to do the reports. the first one I'd like to throw the ball to, if I'm actually just going to check on, I would like to go on and focus on the body language monitor first, because the body language monitor will actually focus on the whole layout of everyone's movement on the screen. So let's welcome Cheryl.
Thank you, Aaron, Mr. General Evaluator. I find this quite challenging to come up with grow points for this club regarding body language and backgrounds. I have seen it grow even in the year I've been a member, where most people's lighting is quite nice. May's is incredibly flattering, actually. I wish I had that kind of lighting on my face. No glare, it's beautiful. And Isabel's is also just so well balanced. I've also noticed that the backgrounds are not distracting. They're all clean and tidy, and some of us have green screens. Sunny's in particular today was that one where she matches her name, and it just, she put it on the screen, and I think that's what made Aaron wake up, right? Look at Aaron's face now. Yes, he was very dark at the beginning, but his lighting is much better now, although his face is still in shadow, as Hariom noted. I feel that everyone who lets their face stay on the screen is showing that they're listening. You seem to be, well, except when people are writing evaluations, but we understand that. You're listening, you seem to be focused, you're nodding, you're smiling, and you seem to be engaged with everyone who speaks. This is all quite wonderful. Now I have to talk about some actual body language, the movement. I want to commend Sunny for her flair with her shoulders. Sunny gets her shoulders and her head all in it, and it's highly engaging. I wish I had that much dance just sitting in one spot. That's just wonderful. I do notice that when people are further from the screen and they use gestures such as Kannan and Hariom, they work much better than when you're very close to the screen and your hands almost turn into a ghost. You know, they're blurred, they turn into ghosts, and they sort of get as big as your face. I'd like people to be aware of that when they're doing gestures. Aaron, you had some of the big hand thing going on just once or twice. But Kannan being way back here was absolutely wonderful. No, it didn't blur. My last comment is that I would love to see everybody's face on video. Now I don't have it set to the whole view, but every time I go to look for Dory Lee or Rainey, their faces are not there. And I'm sad because I want to see what you look like. And I don't care if you have bedhead because you just got up. We want to see your eyes and your smile so that we can feel you're actually here with us. All in all, I'm truly impressed with the way this group uses cameras, uses your video, and how you project your wonderful personalities on the screen. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Give a round of applause to Cheryl. Next, I would like to welcome Gerard to do his encounter report. Let's welcome Gerard.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. As I start saying this, I use the app for Toastmasters, which helps me count. Normally, I've used it before for timing. Works really well. This particular app didn't have anything for double clutches. So that being said, for Kannan, he had a double clutch, and I didn't even catch it because I think he caught himself, and he apologized before he even followed through with it. But that was for all on his speech. Same thing, Aaron had one double clutch, and that was it. And everybody else, there was no R's or ums or anything for the two speeches. Cheryl had one butt, which hopefully her husband doesn't hear because it was after she was saying how romantic he was. And then table topics, guest was really good also, one Hariom, clear, he didn't do any. I assumed I did two ums because I didn't follow. I probably did more like 10, I know me. Cheryl was clear. Isabel, one one Hariom had 3 R's, 1 and 3 R's. And Sunny was clear. It was really outstanding meeting. I was surprised everybody it so highly. Okay, thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Gerard. Really keeping track of all the unnecessary connectives makes us grow as a better speaker as well. I make a lot of unnecessary connectives as long as I wake up. Of course, the one that I'm going to eat has already unmuted as well, because I already hear my echo. So that's all comes Sunny for primary report.
I'm hoping that you can hear me. I had some audio issues today. Wonderful. Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Today we had flair as the word of the day, and Trish, Hariom, and Cheryl used the word flair. Thank you for having a flair and a way with words. In terms of some of the misuse of language, Aaron, you said actually is having a problem. I think you meant actually are having a problem. You, at one point you said you yourself. I think you should have just said you. Our guest had a great word, escapism, a little bit of a sentence that I made note of. Escapism on the screen. And Aaron had put the woes aside. Gerard, I couldn't resist. Cheryl had one butt. Yes, maybe her butt doesn't make her words look too big. Now, Isabel had a slight Indian movies has evolved. Indian movies have evolved. Aaron said, welcome Hariom to evaluate myself, Hariom to evaluate me. Gerard, you were the eye counter. You had one and one so, and I caught myself just now saying a couple of uhs. That is my report. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to welcome welcome me into this situation of being the chat monitor. So I was looking at the chats, and I believe that quite a lot of nice conversations are there, very positive. I love the fact that there's lots of interactions, private messages as well, although I cannot see most of them. So I highly encourage this movement to be continuing on. The 1 minute of silence, you can put it publicly, especially whereby members can see how a comment or positive feedback will look like, so that they can use that as a format. So that's my conclusion as a chat monitor. So I shake my own hand and pass the stage back to the general evaluator. Oh, thank you. Great job, though. Which is weird. Now I will look at the overall view in case I miss out any of the roles, except the one most important role, which is on my far right, our timer. Can you give us our timer report?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. All our speakers today has a special flair on control their time, especially the two prepared speakers. Kannan used 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Aaron used 7 minutes, 29 seconds. And the table topic speakers, Cheryl used 1 minute, 40 seconds. Chandra used 55 seconds. Hariom used 1 minute, 27 seconds. Gerard used 57 seconds. Sunny used 1 minute, 29 seconds. For the evaluation speeches, they all used very close to the very close to the perfect. Isabel used 2 minutes, 48 seconds. Hariom used 3 minutes, 7 seconds. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Your applause. Time is very important, and thank you, Mayhan, for actually looking at our times and keeping things on track. And this is like the first time I see that everything is before 9 p.m. So give a round of applause for that. For keeping on very great time control. So now it's my general evaluation report, first impressions, etc. I love the fact that when I come to this screen, Tricia is always there. So being the president or any of the role takers, I highly recommend come a bit earlier. The guests will feel so much welcome. So give a round of applause for Tricia for always being there in the morning. For me, it's morning. For you, it's at night. But yeah, I really love the fact that it's there to welcome them. I love the interactions. I will love the encouragements to involve the chat as well at the start. Even if you're welcoming, we can actually type in the chat box like the agenda for the day for any latecomers that comes in. Or when I say latecomers, defined as people who come after 7:45, but before 8, so that they can actually have a look at the agenda, what roles are there, how's the flow of that. So that's very important. So remember always the time, put the agenda there, the link is one of the important factors. So for the facilitator's role, Isabel did a really good job for today, leading the whole meeting with lots of different precise stops like introduction, what to do next, what is it broken down into 3 different sections. Give her a round of applause for that. From the first time that I see her to this very day, she's very composed, very delicate, and most importantly, she has displayed the confidence that she once aimed to be, and now she has achieved that. So that's what I'm really proud of. And that actually goes to Sunny, because Sunny is her mentor. So also give her a round of applause for Sunny. Now the timer wise, I love the part whereby she raised up the card. So I highly recommend next time for timers, if like Meihan, give her a co-host function. So when all the timers usually give the co-host function so that she can spotlight herself. Sometimes she may forget about it, and then the president, usually Tricia or me or Sunny, will actually spotlight people. So sometimes we may forget about it. Co-host will be very useful to do so, to help Meihan to fulfill her role. And then I look at the art counter, Gerard. I love the part that you are so delicate in your job. I would actually create a Excel sheet or even like APP, just like the unnecessary collective for today. Top choices, ... When you list it out, it makes us feel like we are in the market. And then next time we avoid those market prices next time. Like we cannot say, oh, and we cannot say so's, etc. because we have been saying too much. So highlight the most frequent words for every single speaker, and that will help us so much. So give a round of applause for Jared for the dedication and hard work. Next, Cheryl, although you mentioned it's your first time looking at body language, but you did a good job. You did really well and even better than me. You're more specific, detailed, and I love the part whereby you talk about the lightings and the gestures like the hand bump. So it's like the big hand thing. Challenge for Cheryl is that I would love you to show us examples as well, like what can we do not to put the big pump, like how do we make sure about how to make use of the screen. You can also tell us some tips and advice. Always, for any role takers, telling us tips and advice will help and encourage members to take up the roles. So give a round of applause for Cheryl for that. I love the part whereby Sunny, I did have to focus on Sunny for the part whereby she did the Sergeant at Arms in the start. She did really, really nicely. I love the part whereby you add the chat box thingy, which is empty. The only challenge for that to improve on is that fill the chat box, the picture, with words. Otherwise, it's just empty, and there's like, what happened with the top chunk? So show us the examples and interactions of that, like private messages, or even like normal chats, so that it just fills up the objectives like talk. The reason why we use a chat button is because we can interact with people, for people who cannot hear us, or we can just give some positive advice. So that can be included in the PPT next time. But really great job. I love the Sunny in you and your screen as well. So give a round of applause. After so many praises, now is the time whereby I start to be slightly more critical, because these two are very important roles, Isabel and Hariom, for evaluator roles. Isabel did a very specific job on breaking down for Kannan. Challenges for Isabel is that I want more specific examples. When I say examples, when we do evaluations, we focus on 2 elements. 1, whether the speaker understands and willing to try new things to improve. 2, is that when we give us like, I want you to improve on this, then you set up examples, and then finally demonstrate it. By demonstrating it, it gives them the live image that next time, oh, I can use that as a reference. So Isabel, you can do that as a challenge for next time. show the examples related to his speech. Like the Indian dance, like you can talk about, I thought that the Indian dance would be something like that. And then after which, now I totally correct the perception. Show the difference of what you learned before and what you learned after his speech. That makes the speaker feel that, oh, I have accomplished my objective. So give a round of applause for Isabel for dedication for that. Hariom, I mentioned earlier on, too much praises. Obviously, it's good and a bad thing at the same time. For good things is because new members, they love encouragement. For oldies like me who cannot even get a DTM. So the thing is that when we actually do that, too much praises, I would love to hear more specific criticisms. Usually how we break down for more experienced speakers is that we would try to chain up like a summary within 1 minute. And then the remaining 2 minutes is actually the focus point to improve. So that we want to bring the value of their preparation and hard work to the plate. So next time, try to be slightly tougher. Not saying that you are doing a really, really bad job. I'm not encouraging you to do so. I'm actually saying that you can say that, oh, Aaron, next time we'll try to put on pauses before you stutter, like how you can demonstrate that. Because I did stutter just now. I realized that problem, and then because I didn't wake up. So next time I need to drink Red Bull to solve that problem. But most importantly, specific to the point will help us to improve on. So give a round of applause for Aaron. Overall meeting, I love it. I love the vibe here. I would definitely love to challenge on 3 different things. From a January evaluator point of view, I would definitely love to challenge that. One is that I would love the vibe to be higher. Sometimes we might prepare the vibe at the beginning. So it's most important for the president, the Toastmaster of the day, to bring up the vibe even higher. Like, welcome to Compare Communicators, when we challenge ourselves. I'm waiting for you to challenge yourself. You can show the vocal variety in bringing up the vibe up. Every vocal variety affects a person's perception on how the club runs. So I love to see the energy level coming up, because this is what we are. We were very proud to be part of this club. Now, number 2, I would like to challenge on is that although this is something against what Cheryl usually tells me, because she always tells me notes of, like, you do not need to chat too much this game. I would love to see chats more filled up during the break. When I say the filler gaps, like 1 minute or so, I would love to see every single person in this room telling just one sentence. It doesn't take long, just only like 10 seconds or so. Type in those positive remarks and improvements. Every single one is helpful. So I would love the president to set an example, to type it out, and then encourage it. I would love to see Isabel, Mehan, or Hariom to type the next sentence. Encourage that chain to come up, so that to make full use of the chat. Finally, the last part is I would love to see more promotions. Comparative Communicators has been a club for nearly like 2 years, literally. I would love to see more promotion, like posters promoting in different parts of the places. Because before I come by, I was looking forward to seeing a poster, but I couldn't see a poster. So I really love to see some promotions on, so that we can have our club back to 20, 25, 30. That is the part whereby we are going to focus on very toughly. Otherwise, we end up with Toastmaster many hats, like Tricia, Isabel, me, Sunny, different roles together. And for a long run, it will burn us out. But for a short time, it's okay. So I really highly encourage that more people to come by, so it spread out the roles, everyone enjoying their duties, and then enjoying public speaking along the way. With that conclusion, that's my end of my January evaluation report. Pass back to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Aaron, I always feel amazed when you can give so many substantial constructive feedback to everyone. That is a great skill to have. Now, I would like to conclude this meeting. It's a really successful meeting, and it wouldn't be successful without the efforts from all the members. Back to you, Madam President Tricia.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to invite our guest, Sandra, to share your thoughts on tonight's meeting.
For sure. I am very impressed. I'm very inspired because for those of us who weren't here earlier, I'm from another Toastmasters club. We're down to 7 members, not good. And our main problem is that we're a corporate club and people work remotely these days. So my thought was, well, we can convert it to an online club, but would it still feel like Toastmasters? And being here with you guys, it does still feel like Toastmasters. I feel very encouraged, and it's been a lot of fun. And I really appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Great. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. I belong to both physical and online clubs, and I really do enjoy my online clubs. We welcome you back, and in 2 weeks, on the 22nd, we're celebrating our birthday. So
Oh, yeah?
definitely come by. You'll hear some testimonials and stories. So invite your friends, invite your other Toastmaster friends.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely share this. If anyone has any doubts, I'll tell them to come by, because I think this could be what saves us, I think, is we can get so many more people involved. So thank you.
Right. Especially if it's a corporate, like a worldwide corporation, you can
Right.
send invitations to other offices.
Yeah.
Might make it easier.
Yeah. 'Cause right now, we got our little Detroit suburb headquarters, and it's hard to get to, especially for hardworking people in the middle of the day. It's not easy.
Right. Well, as I just mentioned, we do have our birthday coming up in 2 weeks, so please look ahead on the agenda. If you have a testimonial, a story, or just you really want to share what Competitive Communicators has done for you, please sign up for a role. We'd love to hear your stories. I know that this club has helped me grow immensely as a leader. So I just appreciate this club so, so, so much. And I hope that you do too. And I hope to see you every week, but especially in 2 weeks when we celebrate our birthday.